Help us out.
I'm sorry about
All women all the time.
Yeah. We have a discussion on domestic violence. And it will be aired on Sunday at 7.
95.5.
95.5.
95.9. 95.9.
95.9. Sunday at 7 o'clock. So please. Courtney, you don't get what?
Yeah. All right, lovely people, we are back and we are ready to jump on in, man. So we are talking about domestic violence today, and
I'm glad you don't get beat, Courtney.
I think I have the perfect guest for this show, so we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. But we're gonna go ahead and start with Dr. Reese. Yes, we're gonna go ahead and start with Dr. Reese.
Valerie works for me.
Oh, okay. She wants us to call her Valerie, guys. And when you see her in Walmart in the street, call her Dr. Reese. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Reese.
Go ahead, Doc. Give us some facts. What you found?
Just some facts about domestic violence, especially pertaining to the state of South Carolina. The state of South Carolina has been in the top 10 for domestic violence related deaths for the last 20 years. Right. So last year, 2017, we were number 5, which was a step down. Oh. But we have been in the top 5 for the last 6 years in a row. So it's a very necessary and very needed topic for us to discuss specifically for the state of South Carolina.
Yeah, so top 5, like, I guess my biggest question is, why isn't it changing? Like, what's needed for it to change?
People aren't talking about it. It's hard to talk about, especially when you're in it. It's like, oh yeah, no.
Okay.
It's not gonna happen.
So what makes it like so hard to talk about?
Because the fear of being judged. Because the first thing, when you tell somebody you in a domestic relationship, the first thing they're gonna say, oh, you need to leave.
Yeah.
Bruh, how I'm gonna leave?
Right.
They don't have no answer for that. They just tell you need to go. No, it's not that easy.
A lot easier said than done.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And I can kind of admit that I would probably be one of those people. Like, that would probably be one of the first things I would say, like, man, like, you really need to leave. And it would come from a place of being concerned.
Right.
Definitely wanting, like, what's best for you. But I guess looking at it like that, it could come off bad. Like, duh, I want to leave, but how am I supposed to do that?
Exactly.
Like,
absolutely.
Duh,
okay.
So,
and when you're, having that discussion with somebody who's in a relationship that has domestic violence, the key is don't just say just leave. Like, okay, let's come up with a plan for how you can leave.
Right. The vision.
Because people still need to eat. You still need to take care of your kids. You still need to have a roof over your head. Those things are things that need to be dealt with before we just say, hey, leave.
Absolutely. That's why I stayed so long. Because of being comfortable. Like, I didn't have to work. Bills were paid. Like, no struggle, no strain. Like, it was just comfortable for me to just stay. And so the downsides of that is having to, be beat on Saturday night just because, or, I mean, it's really not an easy thing to just up and leave. Like, you have to have a plan. Like, and it's not like, okay, I got a plan Friday, I'm putting in action. No, this thing got to start like months in advance.
Yeah.
Because if not, you'll forever be in that situation.
And I know that you said at the beginning of the show that you are a survivor.
I am a survivor. Yes. Yes.
Well, number one, I'm glad that you are a survivor and you're not what they call a victim.
Right.
That can preach. Hello, somebody.
Come on now. That's a word
y'all
within itself.
I'm talking better than y'all responding.
You better come on.
But anyway, would you like to tell like some of your story? If you don't, that's cool. I understand. But would you like to tell some of your stories?
I'm finally at a place where I can talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with, questions. Because at first it was kind of like, I made it out, so they just got to figure it out. So, as crazy as this gonna sound, church was my outlet.
Okay.
I was, quote unquote, allowed to go to church.
Okay.
So I would go to church, and we fought every Sunday. Like, it never failed. I would come home from church, and it would be like this all-out brawl. But I would make excuses for him, like, didn't know how to tell my family, and it was kind of like, when I went to church, I kept saying, Lord, I want to get out of this, but I just didn't have a way to get out.
Yeah.
And so it was like the altercations got worse. Like, he started off with choking, and then I was sitting in the car, and he kicked my window in, and then I was drugged out the car, and then I would go back, because it was kind of like, there really is a cycle. Yeah. Like, it's like, okay, you get beat up on Sunday, Monday, you know, it's like, well, I'm not gonna do it again, you know, please forgive me. And then you start getting all these gifts and, you know, this pampering, and then it just starts all over. And so out of fear, you just stay. And so I had a situation where I was pregnant with my son, and we were at a Verizon. And so this is my coming out. This is when I had to tell my family. Like, we were at a Verizon store, and we had an argument, and he hit me. And when he hit me, it like just threw me for a loop. Like, I cannot believe you hit me in public. Like, this is something for at home type stuff. And so from that moment, I had to go to the hospital. I had 2 torn ligaments. I still currently have 2 torn ligaments in my eye, and my eye socket was fractured. Okay. And so then it went from there. Y'all listen, this is so crazy. While I was in the hospital getting like all these tests and x-rays, he went and took a warrant out on me. So I was arrested.
After you got out the
hospital. After I got out the hospital. Wow. Because in North Carolina, well, it used to be whoever does the warrant first, that's who gets served.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so after that, just to kind of make it short, my last, when I knew like I was done, if I didn't, I would be dead. Yeah. We got into an altercation about our son, and he headbutted me and left me face down in the street. And so I don't know how long I was there, or I don't remember anybody waking me up, but I just like came to myself, and I drove home. And I still didn't know that I was like bleeding or whatever, but I ended up having to have 18 stitches that day. And so that was when I decided, like,
that was your last straw.
That was it for me.
Wow, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad you made it.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not only glad that you, you made it out. I'm glad that you are free enough to talk about it.
Absolutely.
I think that, like you said earlier, we are still in the top 5 because nobody really talks about it.
No, you're not going to talk about it.
Who are you going to help being silent?
Nobody. Because I'm telling you, I had nobody to talk to about it, because I felt like if I said something, the first thing they were going to say is, you need to leave. Help me. How am I going to leave? Right. Because now I'm scared for you, because you're involving yourself in my situation. So it's just easier for me to continue on with this lifestyle than to bring other people in it.
Doctor?
It's a hard one, when you've never been in that situation, the advice is easy to give because you've never had to experience it. Yeah. But then when you're looking at statistics, like 1 out of every 3 women at one point in their life are going to be in a physically violent relationship. Yeah. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people who are having to go through, what Marquita went through, and if you're talking about states like South Carolina that are high in domestic violence related deaths, that's a lot of people who are not surviving. Mm-hmm. So those are discussions that we're going to have, when you see a person in your life who you feel may be experiencing something like that. Yeah. Like she said, don't just say leave, help them leave.
Yeah. I think this is going to be, this has to be something that we discuss often.
Most definitely.
Weekly. So I honestly didn't realize that we were still in the top 5. Like that's crazy.
That's
How we gonna be in the top
crazy.
5 for
20 years.
Right. Something
or
positive.
the best Bojangles in the South?
Okay,
Like,
Bojangles.
Come on.
like why are we still in the top 5 for this?
Right. People don't understand that abuse is more than just a physical.
Right.
And this is going to sound so crazy. Please don't judge me, whoever's watching. But to me, I would have rather at that time been physically abused than verbally abused.
Yeah.
Because once you say something to me, that keeps replaying.
Yeah.
And that after a while, that starts to take a toll on you. So, like, it's more than just, it just really hurts my heart to hear young girls be like, oh, he just like that, or he just, no, ma'am.
Yeah.
No, that's not how that goes.
Yeah. So we gotta talk about this stuff, man.
Most definitely. You tell somebody something long enough, they'll start to believe it.
Right.
So I think we need a safe place to talk about stuff like this. And we actually have an event coming up that Dr. Reese is gonna be.
Yeah.
Come on, he's gonna be
Come
one of
on.
the
Yeah.
I don't want to say speakers because that sounds so churchy.
It's one of the guests.
One of the guests.
Yes,
at the
I'm
event. You wanna go
good
ahead and
with
tell
being
us
a
about the
guest.
event?
Yes,
Go ahead.
November the 3rd, I will be a part of a discussion panel for I Am Woman Empowered Columbia.
Okay.
And we'll be just discussing things that pertain to women and things that can help you to be whole. That's the point, is to discuss, those topics that are taboo and that are not being discussed anywhere else in a safe, environment. And so that we're kind of dispelling some myths, and
Ruffling fellas. All right.
yeah, yeah.
Okay,
and getting people to see things from different perspectives, So discussing a topic that you may have experienced one way with someone else can help them see something different. So that's the goal, is to get these topics out there and to get these topics discussed, so we're not hiding things that we need to be talking about.
All right. I know that's definitely one of my issues. I've gotten better at like talking. I'm not hiding stuff, but maybe like 2 years ago, I was horrible. Like, stuff would happen, and I just, hey, Shy, how you doing? I'm good.
That's it. I'm good.
And it's not just you. You have a lot of women who are experiencing things, dealing with depression or dealing with anxiety, and just feel like they can't talk to anybody about it for fear of being judged or, whatever reason. But we just kind of want to get these topics out there and get discussed so that people who may need some extra help can get that.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So you guys heard that. What's the date again?
November
Give them the date,
3rd,
time, and how
November
they can
3rd
get
from 4 to
tickets.
8. And you can buy tickets at I Am Woman Empowered Columbia at eventbrite.com.
That is I Am Woman Empowered Columbia at eventbrite.com.
Yes, get your tickets, limited seating.
Limited. Very limited.
Okay, yeah, y'all show up
So
without a
let's
ticket.
get it
They're gonna be
fast.
right outside. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
Right. Sitting outside looking in. Absolutely.
So I want to thank you guys for tuning in today.
Thank you.
If there was something that you heard that kind of sparked something in you, let me know. I hope somebody heard a piece of your not testimony, testimony and your story, Marquita.
Right.
And,
Right.
I hope it helped somebody.
I hope
Yeah.
so
For real,
too.
for real.
Say
This is-
something.
This
Please.
is say something.
Say
I know we
something.
said earlier run, but say something like
Run.
Track star.
Like
right,
run,
track
sis.
star.
Run.
and say something.
Yeah.
Actually, do them together.
Yeah.
Talk while you're running.
Right.
And then help somebody.
Help
you know?
somebody.
Right.
I'll help anybody. Inbox me. If you have my number, call me.
Yes.
Like, and I mean that sincerely. Like, that's coming from a genuine place. Anybody who is really going through and scared to talk, I get it. I definitely understand. So please call, text, DM. I am. But I need you to be serious. Like,
Facts.
like it's really your life depends on it. So yeah.
And for those of you who are in South Carolina, you can call 1-800-7